Shut up and sit down.
You're listening to This Atheist Life, a live online discussion where we encourage believers and non-believers to come engage in open discussion, continuous learning, skepticism, and science. We provide an opportunity to ask questions and gain a better understanding of what it means to live this life without a belief in God. Check out our website at thisatheistlife.com. Follow us on iTunes, Podbean, and Twitter, and check out our frequent live scopes on Periscope by searching for This Atheist Life. If you like what you hear and you want to donate knowing that 100% of the money donated goes directly to the charity, then head on over to warrior.stjude.org/thisatheistlife. I'm Steve Hayes, and this is Dave Curry.
Hi!
What's happening, Dave?
Not a whole lot is happening.
Oh, shit.
we got music in this new show, right? Watch out.
I know, and now I gotta switch all of my shit around so that you actually see me. Hello.
It's because you have all the producer role. You have the music. You have the Skype connections.
Right.
You just pretty much run this thing. I'm just here to kind of talk barely at the moment. It's amazing sore throat.
So many days of trying to get all of this audio shit figured out. I feel like I almost needed Paul to be in here to help me with all of this because it was so much fucking work.
Right. His setup's pretty sweet. He actually has a board and things he connects his mics to, but you know.
Yeah. But so, I feel like we're getting distracted. Hello.
Surprise.
And welcome.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome.
So this particular show, this is our brand new show, Dave, right? We're kind of building on the original idea that was ProfitCast. So this is the evolution of ProfitCast, right? Essentially.
Right.
So for those who don't know what ProfitCast is, it was Dave and I did a show for about 2 years, and it originally started out as kind of a live show. We had a few different people kind of coming in, and then it ended up just being Dave and I, and we kind of dabbled around, tried a few things, and we really enjoyed being able to have a live discussion. So we kind of decided to not do pre-recorded shows and to come back to a live show and try to engage in people, here online. So if they got questions or they want to call in through Skype, which is awesome, that we can do. But yeah. Sorry, I also have a temperature right now. I'm running on fumes at the moment. This is fun and exciting.
I know, yeah. We almost had to postpone our debut on this new show, and
right.
Yeah. Luckily enough, you got it together. You got it together in time, man.
It still hurts. I'm just pushing through it, I'll be honest with you. It's not
nice.
Just pushing through.
Yeah.
So I suppose we'll talk quickly about kind of the general format that we're going to be doing here with the show, right? And then I say we'd kind of dive right in, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us about the show.
Telling you about the show. Well, this new show, like you were saying there, when we first started our dabble into doing podcasts and things like that, we originally started with a live show. Then we thought that the next evolution was to go to a pre-recorded like everybody else was doing. And after 2 episodes of doing that, we just felt like, we were doing so much better with the live show, and we felt like that was really our area. So that's what we're doing now. And
we enjoy having the live show thing's fun. That's the thing about it.
And for the viewers who are joining in, of course, if you're watching from YouTube, you can head over to the Google Plus and you can check out the questions and answers, the Q&A, the live Q&A that we have here, or you can tweet us at This Atheist Life. I have that up here. If you really want to join the conversation later, if you have Skype, add This Atheist Life to your Skype contacts, and maybe we'll let you join in. Ooh.
Yeah. If you have a good discussion topic or actually any discussion topic whatsoever, we'll probably let you join. That's part of the thing that we want to do with this, right? Is one of the big things is we really want to try, we have a topic for the show, which is coming out, which I feel like is a pretty...
an atheist.
Exactly, as an atheist or agnostic or non-believer, whatever label you want to subscribe to. I feel like that's a pretty good starter, but we're going to kind of try to have a topic that we can kind of focus on, but we really want to make this kind of, viewer-led. Like we want to have our viewers and our listeners help guide the conversation and either jump on and, you know, chat with us, whether you're a theist or an atheist, or again, or agnostic, whatever label you want to use. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the big thing, right? I want to chat with you guys.
Yeah, but so yeah, that's a general gist of the format that we're doing with this new show here. And of course, you know, we want to try and open it up for guests, special guests, have guest spots. We don't know how long this specific format with Google Plus is going to last, because we want to try Blab, but they're still in beta, and the account that we have with Blab is unfortunately hooked up with our ProfitCast account, so we can't change that shit until they fix their own shit.
Exactly.
So there's that.
So exactly. So eventually we'll get that. We'll get all that figured out and try to give more options, just so that way we can have you know, a higher chance of having a. So speaking of great discussions,
great discussions.
Great discussions, right?
What's the topic for today, Steve?
Right, the topic for today. Today's topic is coming out. So we kind of mentioned this previously. We decided to kind of bring coming out as the beginning topic, because if you're a non-believer, you have a coming out story, whether it's entertaining or not. Like, mine's not necessarily too entertaining. But Dave, yours is
at all.
Yours is more entertaining than mine, if you ask me. You've at least had fun, the opportunity to have like that, almost that ambushed conversation where, you know, you had family members that just kind of came in and was just like, "We're gonna fucking talk to you about this." It's like, right, you know. So
I guess that can be entertaining for some people.
For some. So
for some.
I enjoyed it. So, but like I said, mine wasn't really that exciting. So. But but if you guys have you know, a coming out story, or again, or a topic that doesn't have to do with coming out, that's totally fine. If you guys want to chat about it, either just pop it in the Google Plus chat, or again, you can hit us up on Skype or hit us up on Twitter. Just ask us questions. So, but I suppose I'll get right into my story, right? So
sure. Since
mine's Man,
I feel so rusty at this. I'll feel so rusty at this, man. It's been so long since we've done an actual live show production. I feel so rusty. Sorry if I'm awkward at any point.
We're just naturally awkward, though.
Mm-hmm.
Ow, my throat. Anyways, all right. So the thing about my story is kind of mine kind of intersects with Dave's, which is kind of fun. That was part of the really interesting thing about, and mine intersects with a lot of my friends, actually, whether they kind of, and so whether they wanted it or not, I was pretty vocal about it. So, but it kind of started for me. I didn't actually start investigating my faith. That wasn't the first thing that I just decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have, you know, I'm going to figure out if I actually believe in this God claim. It started when I learned about a man named Alex Jones, which I'm so embarrassed to really. Yeah, I'm so embarrassed to say. There was a horrible phase where I was really into what he was saying. He was really passionate and really, you know, he was fairly.
I mean, he has the evidence right there.
Right, and that was the thing. And and I have to say, I've got to give him credit for one thing. That was one thing that that I never really thought about before, was he just kept saying, "I have the evidence," and that's when like my skepticism really started to kind of kick in, and was like, but I want to see that. Like, can I see it? Like, how can I view the same evidence you have? And you know what I mean? Like, and based on, you know, the claims that you're making, like lizard men, based, you know, there's those claims, and then there's evidence to the contrary. Like, you know what I mean? It's for me, I had to figure out like, oh, how do I figure out what it actually is? What's true and what's not, right? What's a reliable means to gauge this information?
You gained the value of evidence from Alex Jones.
Exactly.
Is an awkward
which
thing
he
to
hasn't
say.
done. Yeah, it is really, isn't it? It's really weird to say. Like, I actually just thought of that now. Like, I didn't realize that was actually what kind of prompted my skepticism originally. Was, I mean, I went down a really dark path at YouTube, which I'm sure many people have happened before, where you like find some Alex Jones, and then you find, you know, like I said, like the lizard men, and then you do the spacecraft, and then you do the ancient aliens, and like, dude, it was a huge, just dark, bad time. But again, it was kind of fun because I got to really experience skepticism. Right. So, but it essentially came around to faith arguments. I started to hear arguments against Christianity, and I never really had heard those before. I've been pretty sheltered in terms of my religious upbringing. So I decided after I heard a challenge of, why don't you try reading the Bible cover to cover? And I said, I could do that. I mean, I'm only like 26 and I've never read the Bible cover to cover. I believe it. I believe there's a God, but I've never actually read his book. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, maybe I'll read this. And as I started getting through it, it was not happening. I was trying as hard as I could to just accept, have faith, or, God works in mysterious ways, or just basically God is magic. And that's eventually where it came down. It's just like, I just kept coming up with well, he's magic. And then there's no evidence for any of this. This book is doing the same thing that Alex Jones is I've got the evidence right here. And you look at it and you're like, there's nothing here. What are you talking about?
What the fuck are you talking about, Alex?
What is going on? So did Alex write this book? So, like I said, for me, it was just kind of exploring that, kind of going down that. And I didn't, I think I got to Numbers or, oh shit, I don't even remember. Before it was just kind of put it down going, okay, I don't know if I'm a firm believer in this anymore. I don't know. I wouldn't call myself an atheist at that point, but it was there was definitely a distinction of I just can't believe this. After a little while, as I kind of investigated more and more, I became more vocal, really vocal. I lost a lot of friends when I came out, both on Facebook and just people who just said that they don't want to talk to me anymore. I lost contact with family members who said I was evil or, working for the devil kind of thing. And then this one was kind of fun and interesting. I found out that my parents are actually young earthers. They believe the earth is between 6,000 and 10,000 years old, which that blew my mind. I don't think once that I ever thought that the earth was that. I mean, I went through numerous amounts of science classes in school. So I never once did it cross my mind, wait, what? Someone thinks what? Dinosaurs are millions of years old. If they're millions, how is the earth? You know what I mean? Anyway, so it kind of went down that route.
That sounds familiar to that part of my story as well.
Right. Yeah. So, and then speaking of your story, so I started posting on Facebook and got to many arguments with people. And then one day, I think it was a Thursday, I asked Dave about his thoughts about God. So I asked you, and I remember, I'm not going to go into detail. I'll let you kind of explain your story. But I just distinctly remember having saying, I'm serious, read Exodus 21. I remember having the conversation about slavery, and it was just I remember no, there's no, it's not in here. It's not true. And then, yeah, like I said, you continue. I imagine from there, what happened with you.
You can go ahead and, you can go ahead and get into that portion.
Oh, so, well, I only,
if you like.
Vaguely remember most of bits and pieces of the conversation, but I just remember having that conversation. Do you believe? Really? Have you read it? Look at what's in here. Holy shit! There's some really crazy things in here. There's so there's slavery. First off, I don't know how you can get past that one. And so, yeah, we kind of started to have more and more conversations, and over the course of the next couple of weeks, we decided to create a podcast. We wanted to, or a live show, right? We wanted to be able to talk to more people about what it is that we were learning and what we were experiencing. And so we started one, and we picked up a couple of people, and we did a number of different, we basically did it every week for 2 years pretty much. And we tried, we dabbled in a few things. We changed our name a couple of times, or not even our name. It was always ProphetCast, but it was, we did Thought Prophets and the Non-Prophets and all these different sub names. I don't know why, but that's what we did. So then now, like I said,
so many changes,
right? And 2 years later, here we are now. I mostly do Periscopes every week, weekday, try to, except for when I'm sick, like today. And then I just generally try to talk with people, learn more. I'm learning more about street epistemology, and I'm trying to read more books. I've read multiple versions of the Bible and multiple different times, obviously. And I've read the Quran, Book of Mormon. I have the Bhagavad Gita downloaded on my phone. I've got the Book of Mormon on my phone now. I have an app for Scientology on my phone, so I'm trying to get into and understand as much as I can. So that's kind of my coming out story.
Constantly learning. There you go.
Exactly. So like I said, there was no real, the only big, not even outlash was just, like I said, talking. I remember talking to my mother and just being you believe we walked with dinosaurs? And she's like, yes. And it was just I am so confused right now. So that was probably the biggest conflict. Other than, I suppose, also my brother. My brother's gay, so he came out gay, and my parents' surprise, their loving Christian nature is not all for it. So there's also that. I suppose that was probably the biggest clash where we really.
Yeah, I mean that's still, that situation is still a part of your experience of coming out, because I mean that's still an issue for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reconciling that your parents believe in that, and I mean you believed in the same shit as they did, essentially.
Exactly. Oh, absolutely. I believed. I didn't have any reason to think that my parents were lying to me, nor do I. I mean, or they weren't genuine in their belief. Like, I don't think that my parents lied to me specifically. You know what I mean? Like, I think they were wrong, and I still think that they're wrong. But I think that they may genuinely believe that what they were doing or what they were teaching was the right thing. They were indoctrinated. Really, it's really what it was. So
yeah.
So yeah,
awesome.
So now they have an atheist for their oldest son. They have a divorcee for their middle child, and they have a the gay. And they have
That's
terrible. And I know. I couldn't help myself. It was right there.
I know.
Yeah. Right. Hopefully James is watching. That'd be awesome.
Right.
Come on. But anyways, yeah. And so in terms of like following biblical principles, like they're not exactly there. You know what I mean? Like, failed on 3 accounts right there. So,
well, it's kind of they're run of the mill in that way, where they follow their religion but they don't.
Right. Well, yeah, it's like the garden variety, right? They pick and choose what best suits them. Like, I haven't had the conversation really with my parents. It's mostly going to be with my dad. I haven't had the conversation with him about, like slavery, for example, and light before the sun, and just a number of different problems and killing children.
You know what I mean? Totally have those conversations so that you can have, some more stories to tell us.
Well, see, so that's the thing. I let it be open for him. Like, I want him to come to me and be able to ask it, because I don't want to that's his, you know what I mean? Like, that's his belief. I know what his belief is. Like, I'm well aware, and I'm happy to discuss it. And I made that very, very, vocal.
I guess that's really the main difference between your story and my story, where because I felt like I left it open for my parents and family as well as you did, but they actually approached me, as opposed to your parents just kind of stewed in it,
They stewed. They put a couple of jabs at Amanda. Like, Amanda, I don't remember the exact details of the story, but it had something to do with she was sitting on a couch downstairs, and of course I was changing a poopy diaper or something at the time. I can't remember. I was with my kid, and I was trying to do something with them, and my dad came down and said something about women being subservient, or Amanda said something about the Bible says women being subservient, or to be silent or whatever. Anyways, and there was some kind of conversation between my dad and Amanda, and again, maybe if she can give us a second, she'll come tell us what it was. Dude, it was like I said, I remember sitting back down, and she's like, "So this just happened," and I was like, "What? Why? Oh, why was I not here?
Why?
This is not fair." Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
well, thank you for sharing, Steve.
You're very welcome. And again, I want to put it out there to anybody that's listening. If you want to share your story, you can totally interrupt us and call us up. Either ping us right here you can ping us on Twitter. You can ping us on Skype. Just hit us up and let us know. And then again, call into Skype, and then we'll put you right through, and everyone else can hear you, and we can have a conversation. So
yeah,
we want to hear from you.
Plus, and I'm still getting used to how exactly I control YouTube, because I know that we can create a live chat in YouTube as well. Yes. So possibly that'll be available for our next show next week, but right now I haven't taken the time to actually figure that out. So
we'll get there, right? Like, we have families and other things. This is definitely not our full-time gig. This is just something that we do because we think it's important to be vocal. So some people can't. So
I guess it's my turn then.
It is your turn. Tell us your story.
I guess it's my turn then. Okay, so I was raised Well, okay, like we were saying, my story is a little bit different, where I actually had the confrontation with some of my family, as opposed to Steve's parents being super passive aggressive about shit. So I was raised Episcopalian. My family and I, we were not hardcore into our religion or anything like that. We mainly just went on to church on holidays, like Christmas, Easter, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, we would go up, and grandparents' birthdays, etc., things like that. And I was really comfortable in my faith. I didn't question it, didn't read the Bible, didn't do anything like that. And I started actually questioning around junior high, like maybe when I was 14 to 16-ish. I can't remember exactly, but I started to basically look at other religions as opposed to actually investigating my own religion, because we were so lax in it. It was just kind of like, I grew up thinking, oh, there is definitely a God, but there's got to be some way for me to reconcile, the way that I think and the beliefs that I had. So I started, my beliefs that I had. So really, when I started questioning, I started looking at other religions like Buddhism, Hinduism, spirituality, Mother Gaia, things like that. And, I basically picked and chose the things that at the time made the most sense to me, or things that I thought were like, yeah, this could totally happen. So like, right. I used to believe in reincarnation. I used to believe in karma. I used to believe in like auras and spiritual energies.
I'm gonna punch you in your aura.
Right? Yeah, you're bruising my aura right now with your negative energies. And I mean, I got really into like meditation and like the search for a higher plane of thought and things like that. And I basically tried to expand my belief to fit my thinking, and the things that I understood were real in this world. Like I always did have an appreciation for evidence. Like I believed in evolution, the scientific evidence for the history of the earth and of the universe, fossils, the Big Bang, all those things. I believed in those. I trusted them to be true. So I basically fit my like religious beliefs to accommodate for those. Like I remember saying many times in this period of questioning that if God is all powerful and he created everything, then why couldn't evolution be true? Why couldn't the Big Bang be true? Why couldn't the history of the earth be true?
Because he could have a hand in it. Is that what you're suggesting?
Exactly. It's like, who are we to say, if God is all powerful, that evolution was not part of his plan? Like, that's who I was during this
You were
time.
that guy. All right.
I was that guy, right. And, through all of this, I never actually took the time to examine the faith that I grew up in. Like, I never read the Bible, except for what we read in church. Yeah, except for what we read in church. So again, I was one of those guys. And I mean, I knew about the basics, like the 10 Commandments, 7 deadly sins, hell, Jesus, birth, crucifixion, resurrection, Sermon on the Mount, yada, yada, yada. The core basics of being that lackadaisy.
There's the core basics of Christianity?
Right, I know.
Not in my discussion thus far, not my investigation thus far, but I see what you mean. You what you thought was the core of Christianity.
Right. What I thought was the core from what I was taught growing up. Because Episcopalians, they, believe they're basically the cool Catholics, is what my mom used to tell me, because they didn't have, Episcopalians don't have confession. So, but they still do like the body of Christ, the bread of heaven kind of shit. So after these few years of kind of questioning my faith and getting settled into my mixed mashed faith system, and just before I really started to actually question the fundamentals of my faith that I grew up in, I called myself a Catholic. Looking back on it now, I probably did that for the acknowledgement of a worldwide community and the idea that, you know, there was this established community of Catholicism, and you know, there was like the Vatican and the Pope, and you know, just all of these different things that were like, Catholicism, this is really cool. Yeah, man, let's get into this.
It's mainstream, you know, everyone's doing it.
Yeah, so mainstream. I was so unhipster back in the day. But then, a few years after high school, like Steve said, he started wanting to talk more and more about his faith and his religion. And wanted to talk to me about it and explore my faith and my religion. And you know, we talked about like the labels and what they meant: agnostic, gnostic, atheist, theist. Right. Yeah. And I remember that I logically named myself at the time as an agnostic theist, which I didn't know if a God did truly exist, but I did believe in a God or some sort of higher power or something.
Exactly.
Something. Spiritual woo. Then we actually started to discuss the Bible. And this is when I actually did start to really investigate what I was claiming to believe. And actually reading the book, the claims that were made, like you said, Exodus, you were all like, oh no, the Bible totally endorses slavery.
Dude, it's
like,
right here.
Shit, man. My loving God, Jesus, would not allow slavery to be endorsed. And it's like, nope, it's right there. Okay, fuck you. I'm going to prove you wrong, right? Shit.
Right. Oh, man. That was awesome when you actually pulled the Bible out of the actual bookshelf at your in-laws' house. It was like, no, see? But, oh, whoa.
No, it's totally not in there. But
no, I'm not reading this, no.
Reading the book and actually finding out like the character that is the Christian God and the way that shitty Christian justified their shitty actions with validation from the Bible, it all built up to me seriously investigating what I believed. Actually reading the Bible for the first time, cover to cover, like looking at the atrocities and the commands and actions of God and the Christian God and all that, it all went against what I thought was right. And, you know, after researching the inconsistencies and the fallacies of Christianity and the other beliefs that I had, it was just like, okay, well, you know, let's take a look at karma. Breaking it down. Okay, I don't believe in karma anymore. What about reincarnation? Breaking it down. This doesn't make sense. Okay, I don't believe in reincarnation anymore because, you know, as I got closer to this point, I started to realize more and more that it's like, if I don't have good evidence for something, I just can't believe in it. There's no reason for me to believe in something if there's no good evidence. And so finally, I just decided to call it all quits. And, you know, dropped the label theist and was just all like, okay, agnostic atheist. That's what I am. That's what I am. And I remember actually telling Deanna, my wife, at one point when we were driving somewhere. I think we were driving over to your house, but this was like before I actually had said the words. Right. I'm an atheist. I remember telling her
A word.
The A word. I remember telling her in the car, I was all like, so I think I'm an atheist. And it was just like, what? And it's like, I don't believe in God. So there was that experience. And I mean, it went over well. We started our own conversations and everything. And it, like, you know, it came to find out that, you know, she was the same way. It was like, well, I don't know, but I don't believe. And it's like, okay, well, that means you're an atheist too.
That's the same. That's the same thing I say.
Right. So after joining a few forums with Steve and a few Facebook groups, you know, like we said, the non-profits, what else did we fucking name ourselves?
Non-profits, thought profits.
Thought profits.
It was just non-profits and thought profits, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse my dog. But so everything was going fine. We started our podcast and everything was going all right. And it was like, I was still kind of keeping it quiet from my family. Like once I actually, came out to my mom, she didn't have a problem with it. She was, she was understanding that, it's my decision to make, and, I am my own person. And she's really more spiritual at this point anyway. But we had that discussion and we've come to an understanding on that. But primarily when it came to my wife's family is where, like you were saying, the confrontation started to happen. Like, I can't remember exactly how the news spread, but it did. I can't remember if it was because of a Facebook post or something, but
Probably.
We were getting ready for one of our shows, and we were house sitting at the time for my in-laws, and like they didn't know that, of course didn't know that we were atheist, and they didn't know that I was using their house to do this podcast that they obviously didn't approve of. And so there was a little spat there where they were unapproving of, yeah, that's right. Okay. Deanna here says that my wife, hi, lovely wife, that it was a Facebook post that released the floodgates. So we had a little bit of an issue with that, but we just kind of, discussed with them. It's like, fine, I won't broadcast in your house. Fine, whatever. Right. It's your home. I can respect that. Fine, whatever. I just won't broadcast in your house. And then that's when, like, we were at an understanding with my in-laws. It was just like, okay, fine, we won't talk about this because you're in Mexico, we're here. It's not right for us to talk about this over Hangout chat or whatever. But my sister-in-law, on the other hand, was a different matter. I don't necessarily need to do that. I mean, it's not like she got all, I guess, good timing. But I got into a discussion with my sister-in-law because I had made a comment. Of course, I used to be pretty vocal on Facebook. Once the news came out, it was just like, okay, fine, fuck it. I'll just make a bunch of posts on Facebook about how I don't fucking believe this shit. And I made a comment, I'm pretty sure, just like with your dad and Amanda, it was about women being subservient to men and not being allowed to teach in church and shit like that. And she contacts me. She's like, oh, no, well, you see, in my church, we actually follow these passages that say that women can teach, and, we don't believe in that thing. And I remember specifically coming back to her saying, that's cool. That's awesome that your church doesn't do that, and that's cool that you follow that. But unfortunately, how am I supposed to tell the difference between what you believe being validated by your Bible and what they believe, this specific pastor who was saying that women should shut the fuck up in church, right? And he has validation for his beliefs. How do I determine who is correct in this? How do I determine who has the correct interpretation? From the same book, exactly. And that kind of shut down that conversation from what I remember. But after that, it kind of got quiet for a little while, and we were a little mellow. Like, after all of this happened, we were actually planning to go down and visit my in-laws in Mexico for a Mexico trip. Like, this thing was planned a year in advance, so it was like, there was no avoiding it, where it was like, we already have our plane tickets, we already have all of this shit. And we actually had a prior discussion going down there with them where we were both in agreement that we don't want to ruin each other's vacation, so let's just put this on the back burner while we come down to Mexico.
Just agree to disagree.
Right. And we go down there, we have a great time. I maybe have one conversation, a brief conversation about the actual podcast with my father-in-law, and it was cordial. It was all right. It was nice. It was just kind of an understanding where it's like, well, I want to do this because I want to have a voice and I want to have my opinion heard, and there's other people who need to hear this kind of thing.
People who can't come out.
Right, for other people who can't come out and things like that. And everything was going fine until the last day we were there. Man, you got to stop doing that.
It's so appropriate, though.
So, and I mean, I'm not on bad terms with my in-laws. I love my in-laws. I do. I really do love them, even though I don't agree with their beliefs.
Like as much as Jesus loves you, kind of you love them?
Right, but sure. But at the time, sure, I was kind of upset that they had did this. But the last day that we were in Mexico, they kind of cornered my wife and I in a way that it was unavoidable for us to get out of the conversation. Where
weren't you like stuck in a car driving?
Yeah, we were driving on our way to the airport, and that's when they wanted to have the discussion.
You could have opened the door and jumped out and let's tuck and roll kind of.
But I was in the middle of Mexico, man. I had that option.
Was there.
I would have had to abandon my wife and child in the back seat as well, and that's not cool. Come on,
tuck and roll with you. It's fine. It's 2 doors, both sides.
But looking back on it now, through that conversation, we actually did come to an understanding. I laid it all out for him. I was like, look, because at one point, I think my mother-in-law said, I'm just worried about you forsaking God. And it's like, look, I'm not forsaking your God. I'm just saying that I don't believe in the Bible. I don't believe in this stuff anymore. I'm not saying that there is no God. I'm just saying I don't believe it and I don't know.
I don't believe your claim.
Right. I don't believe the claim. I don't know for certain. I have no knowledge of whether or not it is true, but I certainly don't believe it. And so I don't want to get into too much detail because I already feel like I'm talking like a fucking like going on and on and on here. But yeah, from that we came to an understanding, and I think that they are, at least from then on, it's been good. I mean, we haven't had any kind of incidents anymore. We haven't had any more confrontations. They don't wait for us to be involved in like mealtime prayer when the whole family is together or anything, and there's no like push to make us go to church or things like that. There may be instances of them just like slipping a little bit, like mentioning prayer or something like that, but other than that rocky start, it actually is good now. Good. Nice. I have no problems with them, and yeah, I think we do have an understanding where it's like, we just don't agree. We don't agree. That's all that it is. I still love you for who you are. I just don't agree with your beliefs. That's all that it is.
And
so
it's just like your political beliefs. It's the same concept. I don't match with you. We don't hate each other.
So I mean, yeah, that's basically the
story. You're sticking to it.
That is my story, and I'm sticking to it. That is the coming out story of Dave Curry. Right. There has been no major family incidents since. Although one time, actually, I completely forgot about this. So my mother was really understanding, but other members of my mom's family, she's the oldest of 8 kids. My other aunts and uncles weren't necessarily as understanding as my mom. Like I remember, I can't remember if it was, I think it may have been, okay, this is going to sound really bad if this actually is the incident, but I don't remember. It may have been my grandmother's funeral. And we went to our family church for her service. And I remember standing outside, and my uncle comes out, and he's, kind of passive aggressively, just like, see, you didn't catch on fire or anything.
Like
I didn't expect to. So
you're right. Yeah. You're like, that's not why I'm not here. Cause I despise it. Okay.
Right. So there was also that. So, I mean, my mom's side of the family has been super passive aggressive, like your family, but there was just that moment on the other side. So
on the other side, nice.
That's my story. Yeah,
same good story.
Woo!
Well, should we play some of our Pimpermissions?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We're about 40 minutes into our show here.
Yeah. So one of the things that we also want to do, and we try to do with our previous show, is we think it's important, again, to kind of speak on the community and to talk about others that are doing similar things that we are. So we're going to basically play just a couple of promos for some of the other shows that we think you guys should check out, and hope you enjoy them. Right? We're gonna play it in just a second.
Are you tired of hearing the same old depressing news?
Exhausted with the state of the world and see no hope for its future?
Then why not escape reality with the Atheist Apocalypse Podcast?
Come meet the people in the mysterious events of the Tri-Counties, where the despair is hilarious and the baseless hopelessness is scarce.
A fictional comedy audio story, unlike anything in the podcasting realm. Atheist Apocalypse will take you away from your daily woes while informing you about the secret plot to take over the planet.
Stupid. Don't tell the listeners of the show that. I'm not ready.
Sorry, I thought they should know.
You're an idiot. You need to listen to Atheist Apocalypse first. Otherwise, you'll be unprepared for the news.
If your podcast lineup needs some comedy, or even if it doesn't, add Atheist Apocalypse Podcast to your queue to enjoy our bi-weekly adventures with the wacky cast and crew. You can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and YouTube, or find all the information you need at atheistapocalypse.com.
I'm Carly Sturgis, the host of the Token Skeptic podcast. Since 2006, I've been interviewing people from around the world, scientists, comedians, artists, and activists. And some of them you might even recognize.
The powers of the placebo are so strong that maybe it's wrong of us to mock.
And we happened to be in London around the time because we were shooting for the war and everything, and we basically made our own little sign, entreating the London commuters to bow down to the Dark Lord Satan, just to try and even.
Some of them you might like to get to know better after hearing them on the show.
Reading into it, for years, I've been interested in the concept of science philosophy and how pseudoscience works.
And it's then very easy for people to just, throw us away and say, well, you don't have a heart, or you're closed-minded, or, and so.
And the origin of the universe and the meaning of life and that kind of thing, because
it's very real-life music, a lot of real experiences, a lot of vulnerable topics, but at the same time, some very silly things. Like one song is actually about Windows Vista.
I'm wondering how I can finish this off now.
Let's break something.
Let's break something. What the hell?
Well, we'll finish it off kind of like Good News Week done.
The Token Skeptic podcast is a fortnightly online interview show that takes a slightly more skeptical look at the world around us. Head to tokenskeptic.org.
All right. Sweet. All right, cool. Hope you guys enjoyed those. Like I said, we're going to try to play some more of those pretty much every show that we do, and we're doing a weekly show. So if you guys have any promos that you want to pimp, by all means, throw it our way. We'd be happy to do it. So,
absolutely.
So Dave, I think that I wanted to get into something I probably should have asked in the beginning, but I put it at the bottom of the file, because that makes sense. But
we passed, being narcissistic and talking about ourselves so much that we can get into an actual topic.
True. Right, I suppose that's true. And again, I have to remind all of you viewers, if you guys want to call in or have a conversation with us, we have a Skype that we can totally patch you right into this, and we'll have a conversation. So you can add us at This Atheist Life. So
you can also hit us up on Twitter at This Atheist Life.
Wow!
Or if you're watching from Google Plus, you can hit up a message in the Q&A.
Yeah, there you go. There's plenty of ways that you can chat with us, and we really want to chat with you. So if you guys have anything to say, please, by all means, let us know. So speaking of things to talk about, one of the questions that gets asked pretty frequently as the vocal atheist, as an atheist activist, I suppose we can call ourselves, right? Is the question of, should you come out as an atheist, agnostic, non-believer, freethinker, heathen, heretic, or none? Whatever label that it is that you want to necessarily call yourself, but should you come out?
Nuns.
Right? The nuns. And not like the nuns, like the, in the black, like the women, not that kind of nun.
Right.
That's not what we're talking about. But sure. we get asked this question. I get asked this question pretty frequently, and I know that there's a number of other shows like the Atheist Experience that they get, that question gets patched all the time. And when I'm doing my Periscopes, I am asked that question probably, well, maybe once or twice a scope. But I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about whether or not you think it's a good idea to come out and just to basically keep some things in mind when you're trying to answer this question. So Dave, I always want to know, do you have any, if I were to ask you, should you come out, what would you say if I said, should you come out as an atheist?
Well, I mean, I think that it can be a really tricky situation, of course. It's all subject to the environment, or, well, not really the environment that you're in, but the situation that you're in, yeah, I think it depends on the situation that you're in, because if, like for us, we are living on our own, we own our own shit. We don't have to worry about someone else providing a roof for us and food for us and things like that, or kicking us out if we were to not agree with them. But,
exactly.
I think that it really depends on how coming out is going to affect you. I mean,
right. Yeah.
I personally think that the more people who don't believe and come out as non-believers, the better. The better, because the
more we normalize it, if you will, right?
Yeah, the more we normalize atheism. #normalize atheism.
Talking about besecular.com.
But at the same time, I mean, if coming out is going to be extremely detrimental to your living situation, your job, your life, if you're going to lose family, you need to be tactful about it, I guess.
Yeah, or at least be ready to accept the consequences of coming out, because that's essentially what could very well happen. Is you could come out, like Dave was saying, you could lose your friends, your family. We know a number of different atheists that have lost their job because they live down in like the Bible Belt or South, kind of in the South. And so when they came out, and when someone found his podcast, and similar type of thing with you, Dave, where someone came and talked to him, but it was his boss and they fired him. So yeah, so they, that kind of thing.
Well, I think it's safe to say that who that was, and people may know of him. I mean, Gamma Atheist.
Yeah.
He had his show, and someone at his job found out about it, and he was fired because of his non-beliefs, because his podcast was detrimental to them. Right.
Yep. And then, of course, like I said, there's also people who come out and, like I said, they maybe they're 16 and they come out and say, you know what, I just don't believe this, and their parents kick them out. Or they're, heavily in the church, and the same thing, they come out either a non-believer or they come out gay. How about this one? This one hits home. When my little brother came out, he had his own, separate Facebook page and all that kind of stuff. And when he didn't come out to anyone except for like me and my wife and some of the people he trusted. It was somebody in his church that came out and told the congregation and told the pastors and things like that, and basically just put him on blast. And he ended up, leaving that church and not going back. And that's definitely affected the way that he views religion and those churches. But that was something that happened when he came out. He didn't get to choose, but it was a consequence of I guess just who he was, which is pretty
right.
Bullshit,
yeah. And going off of that point, I think that's the funny situation, isn't it? Where if you come out,
I don't think it was very funny.
Well, no. I mean, funny as in this is awkward or weird, or this is silly. Silly strange kind of situation, not funny. Yeah. Haha. That. Of course, more and more religious groups and sects are becoming more understanding of, you know, homosexuals or, you know, different sexualities besides being heterosexual and things like that. But it's just weird how not agreeing with the church or not agreeing with the people in the church or having or sharing the same beliefs exactly immediately ostracizes you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's sad, but that's just what ends up happening is people lose their, like, you know, they lose their entire community and they're just left out by themselves. And
yeah,
you know,
like
it's all because that they don't share the same belief.
Like, I can't remember if it is, I'm pretty sure it's Jehovah's Witnesses, where if you go against the church in any way, or if you start to question, you know, you can be completely ostracized from your family.
Yep.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, you get, like,
doctrine.
yeah, and I mean, Mormons do it too. Like, so you get the letter. There's been a couple of people that a couple of our friends that have their letters, which is really fascinating. I kind of wish I had a letter. I mean, I don't wish I was Mormon, but I kind of wish I had a letter excommunicating me.
You wish that you were a Mormon just so that you could be excommunicated.
Yeah, because it's a pretty sweet letter, you know what I mean? No, but I mean that's the crazy thing is that, like, no joke with that. Like, people, again, like you're saying, lose their community, lose their friends. They don't, you know, can't talk with them. They're told, their family and friends are told to not talk with this particular person, and it's really sad and really scary. So right. I mean, in terms of, like I said, to answer the question, should you come out? It really depends. It depends on, you know, the level of safety. If you're in a safe place, if you can accept the consequences for coming out, particularly, definitely based on where you are. I mean, like, it's a lot harder than you are in the Northwest, for example.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like, you know, with what we're saying, it almost sounds scary to come out, which
it is. It can be.
It is. Sure, yeah, it is. But at the same time, it's like you're not, if you have yet to come out, you're not alone. Like, there are groups out there that we atheists, you know, communities have created to replace those communities that you lose. Like, there's the secular student alliances in schools and colleges all across the country.
Freedom from religion.
There's also, freedom from religion. There's all sorts of organizations out there. And I mean, it was like when I joined Twitter and actually started to become active on Twitter, there is a huge community of atheists on Twitter. And there's communities on Facebook
and Meetup. I was going to say, if you actually want to meet up with other people that are in your community, that go to Meetup and take a look to see if you can find an atheist or agnostic or secular. If you can find one of those, you know, a community that has people that don't believe just like you, and check it out.
Yeah, exactly. If you think you're alone, you're not. More than likely, there is an atheist or a secular or a humanist community near you that you can join and meet up.
And if there's not, if it's possible, create one. Maybe there's people that they just don't know, and they're in the same position you are. They just don't know, haven't found anything. They think they're all alone, and maybe you can create a community and bring some people together. And
what is it? The Sunday assemblies that secular groups have created, right, to try and recreate that church community without all the Bibles, but there's still lots of singing.
Bibles and sermons. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there was a lot of people that really enjoyed that atmosphere of going in and singing and being with the community, and, you know, that whole bit with that is kind of pre-built in with religion, that religion has. Just simply by believing, whereas we atheists or secular communities just don't have anything like that. We don't have it just kind of built out of the box where we open up a book, we all, you know, can agree to an extent about this particular book, and then pick up a hymn book and start, you know, singing away. Like, we don't have those kind of things. So
right,
that's
and
why I said creating a community.
Yeah, like we've said in the past on our previous show.
Our other show.
No, it's so weird. I keep wanting to say, you know, as we've said before, but on this show we actually haven't said it before.
No, haven't said anything yet before.
That I know. Jeez, we're just getting started.
Number one.
The one thing that religion has done right is to create that sense of community and to create that organized gathering of people where they already have that established. Like if you are a part of, let's just say, if you are a Seventh-day Adventist and you live in Wyoming and then you move to Idaho, it's very easy for you to be all like, okay, where's my nearest Seventh-day Adventist church? Oh, there's one a couple miles from here. So I can go to that church and instantly become part of a community again. Where atheists, just non-believers, we don't have that, and we've had to start from scratch. We've had to start from the bottom and working our way to actually create these communities. So luckily it's becoming more and more, these secular communities are becoming more available for people, and that's a good thing.
Exactly.
Wow.
So we have 4 minutes. I think that, what I realized that we didn't write up for our show is we didn't put a conclusion. I don't have a closing.
Oh, we didn't do an outro?
No, I don't got an outro or anything. I mean, we have the music that we can play, but
I suppose
I can make one up. I suppose I want to at least reach out. So I mentioned it at the very beginning of the show. I didn't tell you very much about it, but Dave and I are doing the Warrior Dash, and so when it comes to the donations that we take, and 100% of the money goes
St.
to
Jude's
charity.
Warrior Dash.
Yeah, St. Jude's Warrior Dash. We're basically collecting money for St. Jude's Warrior Dash, and you can check us out at warrior.stjudes.org/thisatheistlife. Whatever you can donate, $1, $5, $5,000, that would be amazing. But basically, we're trying to generate money for charity, and we're going to go and we have a GoPro, may have 2 GoPros potentially, and we're going to go out and basically do like a Tough Mudder type of thing. And so you'll be able to kind of be there with us, and like I said, hopefully support a team that is our team name is This Atheist Life, and be out there to show people that atheists aren't these evil, horrible people. And so come support us, come support our show, and come support the name, and come support other people that are atheists that can't come out.
And so I kind of feel like also we need to briefly give an overview of St. Jude's, because the name is deceiving. It's deceiving. Yes. It's sneaky.
Like most religion, it's deceiving.
No, the name itself is deceiving. The organization is not. St. Jude's is a children's hospital organization that helps families who are unable to pay for, medication or medical procedures, or, just be doctors for children that are sick. They primarily do a lot of child cancer research, which actually, now that I'm thinking about it, if Bernie Sanders becomes president and we get a single payer healthcare system and healthcare is available for all, organizations like St. Jude are still going to be needed, but that's going to create a whole new dynamic if I think about it.
Right. Well, hopefully the money then,
anyway,
I suppose, changes then to goes towards scientific, research and
towards more research. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, the organization St. Jude's is completely secular. They have nothing to do with any religious organizations. The only reason that it's called St. Jude is because, yes, the founder named it after his patron saint, but there's no religious affiliation with it, no kind of proselytizing, or, we'll give you chemo if you love Jesus. So, it's a great organization. You can go to our Warrior Dash website to donate directly to our team, or if you become a patron, every time we upload an episode, the money you give us will still go towards our team. So you can either support the show that way annually, or if you want to do a big bulk donation, just put it directly onto our team website there. So,
yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, like I said, everyone, thanks for, think about whether or not it's a good idea, or if you can accept the consequences for coming out. I don't have an outro here, Dave. I feel like I could just tell everyone to check out thisatheistlife.com, follow us on iTunes, Podbean, and Twitter, and check out our frequent scopes on Periscope by searching for This Atheist Life. And again, make sure you go to warrior.stjude.org/thisatheistlife to donate to us. and donate to our team. So thanks, Dave, for being here.
Absolutely.
And you
Want
have
me
a
to do
Godless
the
life. Yeah, do it.
outro music? Outro music.
Outro.
Shut up and sit down.